Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it is time for another edition of the weekly track roundup, where I hit you guys with what I thought were the best and the worst tracks of the week. Before we get into that, let's do a few shout-outs to, of course, our Turntable Lab link. We get kickback from that. Our Patreon page, where you can get access to some lovely, extra, amazing bonus content every month, including classic album live streams, Let's Argues, our Discord. Check it out, check it out, check it out. And support us for a cheap monthly tier. Also, theneedledrop.com/newsletter, link down below, wraps up all the fantastic content we do from week to week. Don't miss a bit of it, because I know sometimes certain videos or whatever might not land in your subscription feed, or you might be off YouTube for a day and you won't see it again. So yeah, sign up to the newsletter. Get everything we do. Cool, cool, cool. Worst tracks of the week. Link to the newsletter down below, by the way. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Worst tracks of the week. We have a handful. We have a handful. Bam. This new one from West Side Boogie and Joey Badass, Outside. The vocal mix on this one is whacked. And what is with the illusions of grandeur in the final verse on this one? Boogie spitting like he's the greatest rapper ever of all time, when the quality of the track is just far below that in so many respects. It just sort of seems a little outlandish. I don't know. All right, a new one from Gwen Stefani. She's back. She's back, telling us that she's reintroducing herself with a really bland new single that sort of reminds us kind of why we dug her stuff in the first place, but I don't know, sort of just seems like a really bland version of all that. Also, a new track from Grimes featured on the Cyberpunk 2077 soundtrack, and it's almost like just really bland, washed out muzak, if you could describe it as anything. Delicate Weapon is the name of the track. And we also have Jeremiah and Chance coming back once again with some Christmas bangers that don't quite bang, because I don't know what's up with Chance's rapping on these tracks. He just sounds so painfully unenthusiastic, and if you don't sound like you're wanting to be making the song, I don't know if we're going to be all that enthused to hear it. I mean, I will say the sentiment and the story behind Who's to Say, these two tracks being Who's to Say and The Return, is pretty cute. The family themes on that one I think are sweet, but again, it still remains that Chance's bars and verses on this one are pretty underwhelming and awkwardly performed for some reason. And Britney Spears and Backstreet Boys teaming up, really like bringing that, 2000s era, late 90s era pop vibe back, sort of. I mean, honestly, it sounds like some horrendously overproduced millennial pop. Doesn't really kind of embody the sounds and vibes that made the classic eras of both of these artists so good. It just sort of seems like an out-of-touch mess. Let's move on to the tracks that I thought were meh, not blowing me away, but thought they were worth shouting out and pointing in your direction. A new one from Kitten over here, which is an aggressive and maybe for some people a very, I guess like a relatable banger. It's titled Daddy Don't Take My Phone Away. Yeah, maybe in some respects the track is a little much, and does it feature the best songwriting I've ever heard from the band? Not necessarily, but the production is pretty wild, and I can't really think of many songs about this exact topic, and maybe this is just, some of what the young ones need to hear during the pandemic, when we're all so dependent on our technology. Going on from there, we have this new one from John Hopkins, Dawn Chorus. It's a Thom Yorke cover, and quite a melancholy and serene version of this track from Thom Yorke's latest full-length LP. We also have JMSN over here, Christmas Time Is Here. It's a touching little Christmas original. Actually, I meant to put this in the best section. That was actually a big oversight on my part. This track rules. The vocals on it rule. The instrumental rules as well. Sorry, I'm just being thrown off by the fact that I made a little bit of a mistake here. But look, this was meant to be in the best section. This track kicks fucking ass. Okay. It's a beautiful little tune. I love JMSN going in a bit of a more Christmassy direction, and of course, looking forward to the new record too, whenever that manages to come out. All right, Jamid's Fantano freestyle I thought was quite fun. Yeah, I enjoyed some of this guy's stuff a little while ago. Gave him a shout out like in this format, and then he sort of clipped some audio from a weekly track roundup and then used it on the front end of this freestyle. Did a little freestyle, then it coasted out. I mean, it's short and sweet. Just kind of looking forward to more of this guy's stuff in the future. Moving on from there, King Gizzard has a new one out. If not now, then when? It's very funky, or at least trying to be. I think it's got some strong funk influences, though whether or not they're executed well, I think is up for debate. I think a lot of the instrumentation is just a little off on this one for whatever reason, but I like that they're continually evolving and taking risks. Moving on from there, Gangstar has, I guess, an instrumental record coming out, which is the instrumental version of the latest album. All those primo beats are going to be on there, and there's a little bonus track on there with verses from Guru. It's titled Glowing Mike, and it's decent. It's not nearly as smooth as all the stuff that made it onto the new record, but if you're a hardcore fan, it's certainly worth hearing. Every Time I Die, a Colossal Wreck, brand new single with a B-side as well. This one goes pretty hard. It's sporadic and frantic and over the top, just like a lot of very quality Every Time I Die tracks are. Also, it's a little in one ear and out the other, I suppose, and that leaves me, I guess, scratching my head about it at the end of the day. But I've never been a huge Every Time I Die fan or anything. But, the people who are into their shit, let it be known. New tracks out. I imagine an album cycle at some point soon. Let's cross our fingers and look forward. Moving on from there, we have new single, which is an interesting crossover between Troye Sivan, Kacey Musgraves, and Mark Ronson on the feature too. Easy is the title, but it's just bland as hell. It's just so desperately, incredibly bland. I don't really know how else to describe it. It's just so freaking bland. Moving on from there, Cherry Glazer has a new track out that is, I guess, a lot dancier than the stuff that has sort of dropped up until this point. The vocals are a little too washed out for my taste, but I do love the groove and I do love the production. And I think this is an interesting direction to, I guess, look out for. Again, if I didn't say it, the title of that track is Rabbit Hole. All right, Benny the Butcher has a new one out as well, 3:30 in Houston. It's grimy, some pretty pointed bars, some boss-ass bars. I mean, like there was that one about, like getting the pinky in the mail. What the fuck? That being said, though, beat isn't really anything to write home about, and there's not really much song structure to it, but it's gritty. We have another one over here from producer, songwriter, content creator Aries. Conversations is the title. It's a more rock-oriented single. Wasn't as crazy about this one as I was Fool's Gold, if I'm remembering the title correctly, but still, it's a peppy change of pace, I suppose. All right, moving on from there, we have the best tracks of the week. We got a handful of those too. Bam, Taylor Swift, new record out. Want to give a shout out to the track she crossed over on with Bon Iver, which, he was on the last record, but he's on the title track here too. Might not sound like too much at first, but when Bon Iver's vocals come in, when Justin Vernon's vocals come in at that midpoint with the tempo change, it's amazing. The cascading vocals, you're going to hear it. It is just spellbinding. We also have the track Super Tuesday, a fantastic cut from the new JPEGMAFIA EP, which has essentially rounded up all the singles that he dropped throughout 2020. Kid LAROI and Juice WRLD teaming up once again. I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like they just bring out the best in each other whenever they do a track together. The songwriting's focused, the vocals are on point, the passion is there, the production's not bad either. I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. Reminds me of you. Give it a try. Give it a listen if you're into that emo trap vibe. Going on from there, new one from Kenny Mason. I guess it's a rough, sort of like demo-y cut A+ featuring Denzel Curry. And yeah, it is rough around the edges, but the vocal lines are quite impressive. Some of the transitions are good. Denzel's verse is great, so no reason not to listen to it. All right, Julia Jacklin, singer-songwriter. Baby Jesus is Nobody's Baby Now, a Christmas-themed cut that's quite depressing, and a lot of familial themes going throughout it as well. Very intimately recorded, too. I'll say it's an emotional stunner. And we have a new one out from Mario Judah this week. His, I guess, Playboy Cardi impersonation. Bih Yah! Mario Judah's Playboy Cardi impersonation is on point. It is totally and incredibly on point, from the production to the flow to the vocal inflection. It's great. He's kind of doing Cardi better than Cardi right now. Moving on from there, John Carpenter has another Lost Themes record coming out very soon. The Dead Walk is the new single and teaser. It's heavy, it's progressive synth, it's epic, it's a little industrial, and some roaring guitars in the mix there too. Kicks ass. All right, we have a Guapdad 4000 with a remix with BFB to Packman. Alpha is the track, which I enjoyed quite a bit this year, hearing the original. Packman sort of puts his own flair on it, his own sense of humor. These two teaming up just kind of makes sense, and I just still love the vibe, love the instrumental, love everything about this track. I just think it's got a little bit extra now. FWB, new one from Chika, where she goes pretty sensual and ballad-like on this one. I dig it quite a bit. You know, I think it just kind of shows her talent. She could put out a great, straightforward rap track, and she could do a smooth ballad-type cut, too. That's, again, a little sensual, and it works. It's quality. All right, Caroline Polacheck with the oddest remix ever. We have Toro y Moi on the remix. It's Hit Me Where It Hurts. And Chino Moreno on the track too, and which again is very unlikely, but it somehow works and is totally cool. Give it a listen. All right, we have yet another cover here from Bonnie Prince Billy and Bill Callahan. They have been just week to week to week with the covers. Like, goddamn, how many covers do they have out now? It's got to be a lot. I mean, either way, this is a Jerry Jeff Walker cover. I Love You. Not familiar with the track, but still, I mean, it's a beautiful horn-backed ballad that's pretty grand and epic in presentation for both of these guys. You know, still staying true to their Indian, somewhat lo-fi-ish roots in the process. It's pretty. It's compelling. It's sweet. Give it a listen. And that has been the weekly track roundup, everybody. Hopefully you got some good recommendations out of this video. I will catch you in the next review and everything like that. Have a good one. Hope you're feeling well and staying safe during the pandemic. I feel for you if you're having a hard time. It's shit sucks out here. It really does. All right. Have a good one. Bye.